This PSA was brought to you by the Peter G Show.
You may have second thoughts after the show.
Don't drink the faucet. We're really talented. We should get Oscars.
Just pick out a fucking car, for Christ's sake.
No, my name is Peter.
Yeah, I want.
Here's good.
Yeah.
Madam Perry.
I need to get back in the genie bottle.
Louis from Pennsylvania, you're on.
He likes it.
It's showtime.
Peter G Show, Peter G Show, divorced dad, single dad, divorced dad, single dad, Peter G Show.
Ooh, spooky. Let's take some of this in. Night after Halloween. Ooh. How's everybody doing? We are into November. It freaks me out. That's what scares me. How fast time is flying. November 1st. Day after Halloween. I hope everybody had a safe, fun weekend, Halloween, all that stuff, and week, whatever it takes. But it is now November, and a few more nights. We'll be going and changing the clocks again and going into daylight savings time, or not savings time. Well, I guess it is, but it sucks. It's going to get dark at 4:30, 4:45. People be bitching about it. It's dark. By 8 o'clock in the evening, you feel like you want to go to bed. You got to go to bed because it feels like it's 2 a.m. Same old shit every year. Every year, it's the same thing. I love it. I hate it. I hate it because I like doing things more towards the latter part of the day. I don't necessarily get up at the crack of dawn. I will when I have to, but if I don't, I don't. And so I like doing things, and I like that daylight savings time, but more daylight, the better. But you know what I'm talking about. You guys are going to be bitching about it, and by next week, we'll talk about it again, too. But tonight, return of V. V was on last week. V is going to come back on, as we said, because it's going to be a post-Halloween show. He's going to share some personal experiences, And as I said last week, for those of you, if you didn't catch it, he's been on me for a couple of years now to wanting to tell these stories. So it's finally like, okay, it's close to Halloween, close enough. I'll have you back, and we'll let you tell these stories, because I'm pretty sure they're not your average stories. And he's going to be up in a few minutes, so that's kind of cool. And also, while I'm on what's going on, next week, real quick, like to tell people, give you a little heads up so you can make plans. November 8th, Baltimore's own Pastor Ray Pollitt's going to be on. Pastor Ray's been on for the past few years. He's, God love him. I mean, he goes out of his way. He helps the homeless and, cold winters over there in Baltimore, Maryland. And he's got his finger on the pulse of what's going on. And Maryland Baltimore specifically, let's face it, folks, it's a friggin' mess over there. It's a mess. And I want to pick his brain and see how it's going. We haven't spoken. He was on last year. He goes out and gets money and goes and, finds all the homeless. He knows them all in his area. And, they're drug addiction. They're on drugs, and he goes and gets them clothes and fresh socks and stuff because it's cold, and they sleep in tents. Can you imagine sleeping in a tent in the snow? So he's going to be on the show, and he's got his, like I said, he's got his head in the right place, and he knows how screwed up everything is with this country as well as the area he lives in. And I want to, talk to him about that and see what's going on. He'll be on next week, November 8th, Pastor Ray Pollitt's going to be on, and from Baltimore, Maryland. So check him out. He's always good. Former Marine. The old saying, once a Marine, always a Marine. And he's had a story. He was a foster child. So he's got good stuff. He's got what it takes. All right. Where we at? Subscribe, please. Whatever platforms you're watching on, the YouTubes, Facebook's, LinkedIn, Rumble, BitChute, X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagrams, TikToks. Oh, there's more, but just diversify. Because if I get kicked off of YouTube, I want you to find me other places, right? And I appreciate those who take the time to watch the show, but again, if you don't have the time, I completely understand. Google Peter G Show podcasts. We're on like 24, 25 different Audible podcasts. So you can put an earbud in your ear while you're driving, commuting to work, while you're at work, because we all know that work is boring. And you can check out the show, just listen to the show. I try to keep in mind a lot of times that people are listening as opposed to viewing the show. Sometimes it's hard when you're showing videos and things like that, but I'm telling you, it's the next best thing to being, here to watch the shows. But I appreciate all that do. Okay, so just remember, there's a couple of ways you can go about it, but I love you for even trying. So just Google it one way or another. Every Wednesday, like clockwork, and when the shows are over live, we're on demand. There's over 300 shows to choose from. Although YouTube keeps pulling more and more shows off the air. But believe me, they're out there. So check them out. I love you. All right. Coming up in just less than about 2 minutes, V is going to be on. We're going to welcome him back from last week, but he's we're going a different direction, and he's going to tell us some of those paranormal Halloween stories. But first, I want to hear from my good friends over at Clean Star Products with their money-saving fuel additive DX1 driver. And we'll be right back.
Let us help you with the high price of fuel. Hello, I'm Ty Thompson at CleanStarProducts.com. We can optimize your engine, saving you money and gas. Here's how. Our program works the same with gasoline and diesel engines. Whether you're using a car pack or SUV pack, the instructions are the same. Add 1 bottle to your engine oil, and each time you change your oil, add 1 bottle to the fuel tank each and every fuel fill-up. It's that easy. You get 10% fuel economy on average, lower emissions, and increased horsepower. DX1 sells for $2 an ounce, so for just a few dollars a fuel tank, you can optimize your engine, saving you money and gas. Come on, give it a try. It's the finest green grade oil in the world from a California environmental company. You're going to feel it when you drive. Order online today. We'll get it out right away. CleanStarProducts.com/shop.
That's right, CleanStarProducts.com, folks. All I can tell you is they have an actual product that actually works. Let's face it, gas is expensive. Fuel is expensive. Why not save money on fuel? I'll tell you what you can do. Go to www.cleanstarproducts.com. If you have any questions, they'll actually speak to you. They're good people. And if you dial the number on their website, he'll talk to you directly. A lot of people have questions about the product. They want to know that their money's going towards something. But also, you mentioned the Peter G Show. When you're speaking to them, ordering, they'll give you an extra bonus. 5 bottles of DX1 driver for the price of 4. That's right. 5 bottles for the price of 4. You heard it here first. Mention the Peter G Show. They're good people with a product that works. All right. Moving right along. We are flying tonight, folks. Flying. Let's take a sip first, as always. Woo! Smooth. Everybody says, Peter, what do you got in there? The secret sauce. All right, without further delay, he was here last week and we talked about life. Tonight we're going to talk about paranormal and his experiences with paranormal. He's got personal experiences and worthy of, and he's been wanting to do it right around this date on Halloween. I swear, if I told him let's do it in January, he's like, "No, man, can we do it on Halloween?" So we're doing it. All right, it's the day after, but better late than never. It's the closest I can do. Otherwise, we're going to have to wait a few years until Halloween falls on a show date. But without further ado, the return of my friend and yours from the Red Pill Hardcore Show radio talk show host, V.
Hey, Peter, you're the
Another-
coolest man in town.
Well,
Where's the
at least
party?
at least for an hour. At least for now. Hey, oh, really? Let me tell you something. I got a question for you, V.
Can a bitch get a donut?
How's that?
That has made my whole day. Thank you.
Let me tell you something. I meant to do that last week when you were on the show, and I spaced. I forgot. A lot of things going on. But yeah, there you go. You heard it here first. Especially for you. All right. So we had you on last week, and everything was great. We did a completely different show, but tonight you're on specifically because of like weird paranormal stuff that you've been telling me about for quite a long time, and that's what you're going to talk about tonight, correct?
Absolutely. Yes. So
don't hesitate. I mean, give everybody a little teaser, and then we'll get into the detail.
well, okay. So people, for those who know me, know that I was targeted individual, targeted by the NSA and their Pro Intel 2.0, basically, and affected a lot of people in my life. It affected me personally, but there was this sort of a shift, and I had some paranormal experiences, and to this day, I cannot explain why.
Have you had like multiple experiences, like through different times, or just it just happened for a quick period and then everything went away?
Just a quick period, then I went away.
Well, you're right here now.
Well, so I had moved into this apartment, and I answered an ad, Craigslist. I was looking to move into somewhere because I had just got back to California, got back to Oroville, was having complications in the relationship I was having, and it turned out that me moving back in, this person was the best idea, so I ended up getting a room in this apartment. So, not to spend too much time with the targeting stuff, I'll just say a lot of stuff started at the same time with my targeting. With my
How long ago?
Oh wow, the fall of 2014.
Okay.
Yes. So for those of you who don't remember, yes, everyone in my apartment complex, a small complex of like 8 different apartments, everyone was hearing voices. There was a guy that stood outside talking to himself all day long. His son would kind of do the same thing on his own in his room when he wasn't bugging me, trying to, hang out and have a beer. My roommates started hearing voices. One moved out. The other laid on the couch for about a month talking to himself. I would check on him. Hey, who are you talking to? No, nobody. One day he's bugged out and vanished. So I was left with the apartment on my own. And that's when my targeting started. So I dealt with the V2K, the voice to skull, that AI sort of stuff, my computers being hacked, my mail being opened, being followed around by drivers in white vans. You know, the whole COINTELPRO situation.
Wait,
I
how
think
does your
all that stuff.
wait? How does your mail get opened? Where does it get opened at? I mean, you probably know this answer, but I'm curious.
Well, it's called gaslighting.
Yeah,
So when the feds want you to feel paranoid, want you to feel like you're being watched, 'cause that's the whole
yeah.
purpose of it. They'll do things to make sure that you are uncomfortable where you are, to make sure that you don't want to be where you are, because they want to run you off somewhere, so that you can spend money moving and then losing friends and eventually, losing jobs, becoming homeless, and then killing yourself. That's part of the program.
Okay.
So, I had started going to college down the way, and I would come back home and stuff would be moved around. Not they don't ever steal anything, but they want you. They don't want you to be able to call the police to say something's stolen. You've been burglarized. But if you call the police to say your furniture's been moved around, they're gonna think you're crazy. I know during this time period, they would leave me messages on my closet door. I think we spoke about this before. When you put down tape on a surface and you peel it up, and it still has that sticky square area surface.
If it's left for a while.
So that would be done, and messages would be spelled out. Tape put on, then removed.
It'd be spelled out in the sticky form.
Yeah, right.
So you couldn't see it, but you could see it.
You have to be paying attention to see it. Yes. Because at this time period, I'm trying to figure out where this noise is coming from, where his talking was coming from. I would try to pinpoint the sound, and it would always sound like it's coming from the bottom of my closet.
What kind of noise?
They played a song on loop, just like a single chorus, just played it on loop.
Not Men Without Hats.
I'm sorry?
Not Men Without Hats, right? That song. That'll drive you crazy right there. S S S S Y Y. You can dance if you want to, but you're okay. Sorry. Okay.
No, I already had a roommate that would play that on loop.
Okay.
Sorry.
Sorry.
No, so I would see a message spelled out in this outline, the sticky outline, saying, "Stop looking into your closet."
Really?
Yeah. So odd little messages like that, things like that, they would let me know that I'm being surveillanced and that someone is coming into my home while I'm gone.
But you're saying you got wait. You're saying you got roommates and this and that. When is there that much time that they can go in and do something like that?
No, my roommates have run away already.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And
just
I
you.
was the last person around.
Okay.
Almost. So it was around this time period, I figured out all the stuff out. The technology with the V2K, the psychological operations. I figured all the stuff out already. What I couldn't figure out were some, what you would call paranormal activity. So this apartment that I lived in, there was no one below me. No one lived below me. I was on the second floor, top stairs, but the floor was kind of thin, bouncy, kind of like a boxing ring or wrestling ring, you can kind of feel the bounce when you walk.
Yeah.
Very thin. I would get the noise and the sensation of someone running down my hallway. This is a big apartment. Nice. It was pretty big. Front door, living room, and then behind the living room was a hallway. Kitchen on the right, the 2 bedrooms towards the back. So there's this hallway. I didn't spend much time in any of my rooms. I had 2 giant, comfortable couches that were left behind, and I spent most of my time on my computer on those couches. But I would get woken up in the middle of the night, unmistakably hearing and feeling hard pounding running. And sometimes, at this point, I'm very irritated with the targeting, and really wanting somebody to show up so I can confront them. At this time period, I'm at the point where I'm sleeping with a machete. So I'm expecting to see something. But I would feel this running, boom, 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 and get right to the door and stop.
How
Get
loud?
up. Just imagine you actually sleeping on the floor and someone stomping next to your head.
Wow.
That loud.
Okay.
And you can feel it. It's like a trampoline floor. You can feel it. But I get up with my machete and I'm like, hey, let's do this. But nothing's there. So around this time also, I would get shadow people.
What's the shadow people?
Well, this is what I researched because I did a lot of research at the time trying to figure out what the hell's going on. And just seeing outlines on my wall, shadows from light sources, that it's impossible for it to be in the shape that it was. Okay. And it was always silhouettes, non-moving silhouettes. It would just seem like they would just watch me. Now, this wasn't an immediate thing. It was sort of gradual. Sometimes I would just look and I'm thinking I'm having some auditory and visual hallucinations, until one day I just decided to record. I got webcam, had it recording directly to the computer, because my window shades were very animated. Now, this was an old apartment. It was not weather proofed. It was not, economy sealed, temperature sealed and all that. Very old windows. And I understand there's a certain amount of draft that can come through even if the windows are closed. However, still more animated than you would think. And on the fringes, on the outsides, you would see like little fingers coming out the sides of the edges, doing like this. And that was all the way around the perimeter. Not finger like flesh, you can see skin, but like dark shadow form. I recorded this. I actually got it on camera. I showed my downstairs neighbor to the left. He would come over sometimes and have a beer as well. Watch a game, whatever. I showed it to him. he didn't get halfway through the video before he left my apartment. He had moved himself and his family out of that apartment within a week. He was gone. I never saw him ever again. And this wasn't the kind of guy to scare. I mean, he was a tough guy. Golden Gloves boxer. So, freaked him the hell out. And I also remember, and people are just kind of just wondering why I didn't freak out. I was way too curious. I don't have that part of my brain where I can be afraid of things. Fear is just not something I feel. I get angry, especially when I think someone's trying to intimidate me. Yes, I get very upset. I get angry. But however, I had this lamp. Well, it wasn't a lamp. It was more like a. Well, I mean, it was a tall lamp. It had a cone top that would light the ceiling. I mean, that's
right. Right, one of those. Yeah.
Okay. Now this thing one day just started falling over, and it would land on my bed. First couple times, I didn't think anything of it. I just set it back up, inspect the floor, see if there's something uneven with the floor, which was not the case. However, it kept falling down, and the cone of it kept landing on my bed. So I'm really looking, and I'm looking, and I got video of this as well eventually. I kept I noticed there's a flicker with the bulb itself. Flicker. Like, okay. This is getting kind of like horror movie sort of feel to it, right? Around this point. But it wasn't until I really looked in the light itself, because the light would be on, and the light itself, and the arc of it, I mean, as it's coming up, on the bed itself, I saw a vague shadow or an outline of a small child tapping the bulb as it would flicker.
All right. How do you explain?
This, I mean, again, with all the technology that the NSA hit me with, I figured out everything that I was hit with. But this, I could not, I can't explain it. I can only speculate that perhaps I was being targeted or watched or surveillance because there was something wrong with the property. Maybe there were, because the major part of the PSYOP was for me to come work for them and to leave this complex. People were leaving this complex a lot. You know, people kept moving out as I was there. So it seemed like there's this agenda coming from somewhere that wanted me to leave the apartment. So I can only speculate that, you know, there's some sort of presence here, and maybe the government was trying to get me out of there, or maybe they have some occult or interdimensional technology that they can target people with.
So wait a minute. So you don't think that by some chance, and again, you either believe or you don't believe, but by some chance, like that place was just spook haunted of some sort, and it has nothing to do with the government or anything like that?
I'm not a believer, even now. I'm not really a believer, and I'm very
Just asking.
scientific in the way that I think. It's just hard for me to actually. I mean, it possibly could be because I've never experienced this anywhere else in my life. Not before, not after. Just during my stay in this one apartment. These apartments were old. I mean, like World War II old.
Did you ever ask the history of anything? Possibly somebody murdered in there or killed or died?
Well, see, I could never find out any information like that. The owner, the guy that was okay, so it's very complicated. So after my roommates had got up and left, they didn't give me any information about anything. So when time to pay rent, that day was coming. I've got this guy showing up and actually entering into my apartment. He didn't know I was there. I never met him, never met me, but I told him the situation, how my roommates had just up and vanished, and we worked out a situation where I could stay. Now, sometime later, after the fact, after I've not lived there for a long time, I come to find out that he didn't even have permission to do any of this stuff. This guy was the son of the owner, who did not want to let anybody onto this property other than the people that were already there. She was not renting out anything else. So it was just a matter of getting the last tenants out before she did something with the property. I don't know. I could not get any information out of her. However, I did speculate with my roommates when they were there because they witnessed one event that was particularly creepy. I had bought a brand new sheet, white sheet, because I didn't have the money at the time to buy an actual roll down projector, but projector screen. But I had a projector. I would watch movies on it. So I had bought this white sheet to put up on the wall. Slowly, this white sheet turned blood red.
Come on.
And I tried to figure out what was going on. I put my hand on the wall. Maybe there's some sort of wood oil. Maybe somebody's did some cleaning. I'm touching the wall behind it.
Over the course of time, or like within minutes?
Over the course of 3 weeks, it went from pure white, to these sort of like water stains and a few of the creases.
Yeah.
Well, one day it was just blood red.
But it was hanging?
Flushed against the wall.
Wasn't on your bed, it was hanging.
Hanging. It was never moved from out of the package to the wall.
Okay.
Blood red.
Blood red.
Blood red.
Not just pale pink, discolored white, blood red.
It went from blood red to like a dark brown.
Right. Like
old blood.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm thinking this is a joke. Maybe my roommates are doing something, but but I was there more than they were. They didn't really have time to do anything. Again, I'm checking the wall, see if they had done any kind of cleaning. Maybe, you get that stuff you wipe down wood furniture with, none of that stuff. So we speculate maybe somebody's gotten killed here. This apartment is 60 years old. well, at that time, 75 years old. Somebody had to have been murdered here. And so I just left it at that. I don't know any specifics of the history. Although the wall itself, I can tell you, the walls themselves were so peppered with nail holes. And not just in areas, you would hang something up. Peppered from top to bottom, every wall in the apartment. I
Every
understand.
wall.
I'm sorry?
Every wall?
Every wall. Like
What does the owner say?
Again, no information on the owner. None. She
'Cause
refused to acknowledge me.
Normally they don't want you putting any nail holes in walls and things like that. You know what I mean? Because it's their walls.
Exactly.
Peppered.
Exactly. So, to me, I mean, if you really looked at it, it's like someone had a shotgun and was just shooting rat shot for
How
fun.
much longer? How much longer did you stay there?
I stayed in that apartment 6 months.
And you put up with it. Was it still continuing?
It started after about 2 months of being there. So yeah, I put up with it for a while. I wasn't gonna let anybody move me. I wasn't gonna be one of those people that run scared because they see something they don't understand. It's just the opposite. I did as much studying of it that I could. There's a joke in certain communities, when you watch horror movie, oh, crazy white people, I would have gotten out of there. When you watch horror movies. Well, anyways, I end up being one of those people that just wants to study the supernatural stuff that's going on. Because it doesn't matter how much I'm saying of it, I'm still not believing it. I'm trying to figure out a logical explanation.
Before you wait. Before you moved in, did your roommates have any issues?
No.
Never. How long were they there before you?
I want to say about 4 months before me.
Okay.
They didn't seem to have any issues. So so that's what made me think that maybe something was projected at me or at this place at this time, because people were going crazy in this apartment complex. Another guy that was downstairs at the end of the building kept asking me to burn the building down. Yeah. Hey, dude, come on, let's burn this apartment complex down. Let's burn it down. Let's burn it down. He would get drunk and ask me all the time, let's burn it down. But I'm not going to jail for arson. Are you kidding me? And then there was one other neighbor. She was kind of like the neighborhood watch, kind of really nosy. There was this time period, this was shortly after my roommates left, that I was receiving messages telling me to go downstairs and break out the window of the neighbors and steal this bag of items that was hanging in the window. I was being bugged and harassed to do this.
How?
And now, see, this is why I think this could be more government op, because this was through the V2K, or the voice of the skull, the synthetic telepathy, remote neuromonitoring.
You're hearing it in your head.
Yes, to go and do this, to go and commit this crime, So what I did instead was I went downstairs and I knocked on the door of that neighbor, and I asked her if she wouldn't mind telling me the significance of this bag that's hanging in her kitchen window that you can see from the back of the building. So I told her someone is telling me that this is important, and then I that I should ask about it. And she mentioned that her son, there's some items in it like some feathers, some seashells, just little stuff like that. And she said that stuff belonged to her dead son, and she was convinced that I was communicating with her dead son. And I I was like, I don't know what to tell you, but I just had to ask. Sorry for bothering you. See you around. Went back up to my place. Next thing you know, I've got the cops knocking on my door, and they're asking me if I'm okay. Now, these cops want me, they're requesting that I go get evaluated. The cop actually pulled me aside from his other partners and asked me if I was under a lot of stress. And at the time, I kind of was, had a failed relationship and struggling to concentrate on anything at school because of what's going on at home. The cop said he told me it's not uncommon to start developing psychic abilities under these circumstances. And then I should go get checked out. It's like, no, I have to laugh at the cop. It's like, no, it's okay. I'm not going to do that. So that it's just so many instances.
Psychic abilities, he was saying, not psychotic abilities.
No, he meant psychic. Like being able to see things that other people can't see and do things with my mind. Which I don't like that kind of stuff. I mean, I used to be a clairvoyant when I was a child. Around 8, 9 years old, I could do outer body experiences all the time. I could actually experience an entire 24 hours ahead of it happening. I can predict everything that's going to happen, event by event, minute by minute, the next day, because I've already seen it, like I watched a movie. So I did have abilities like that as a child, but I distanced myself from that sort of thing because I didn't want to believe in it. I'm more of a scientific. Again, my approach to everything has to be science. I'm still kind of. I mean, people are asking all the time, "How do you know this was going to happen? How do you know that was going to happen?" I use more experience with sort of calculation of probability now as an adult to get the same result of what I could do naturally as a child.
You think?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it could, tell you the truth, it could be one and the same thing. It could be,
yeah.
It's just my perception of it.
Right.
It could be. So.
Because Dr. Fauci says follow the science too.
Yeah, but I do real science. I do real research.
Yeah. I'm just saying. Everybody believed in his science too. So, but I look. I've seen things on videos on shadows and like a guy in a house, and he's going, "This is getting really, really old," and he's got it filmed, and there's shadows, and goes into a room, and the chair is moving. I'm going, if they're faking this stuff, they're faking. I don't know how the hell they're faking it. I don't believe or disbelieve anything anymore because I just don't think that I'm genius enough to put my finger and go, this is all bullshit. But I do believe there's things that go on, and I don't know. But you're telling me these kind of things. So now is a difference of, is it premeditated through government things, or is it natural phenomenon through you know what I'm saying? That's a difference.
There is one thing that I should point out. Now, okay, so there was another. I have to take back what I said earlier. There was another time, the same town, but I had moved up to the mountains. This was when I actually had my radio show for about a year or so. I actually stopped doing my show at the radio stations here in town. I just started doing pre-recorded 2-hour shows just to upload later. And I was basically on this property, and it has this property, this like a little farm, okay? The chickens, geese, ducks, all kinds of little animals, right? To get some quiet in order to record, I had bought a trailer, a fifth wheel.
Right.
And that was put towards the back end of the property away from the house. So I would go in there to record some of my interviews. Now, I would have peace and quiet until it was time for me to do my show. All of a sudden, the branches of the trees are moving about. They're scraping my trailer. My trailer itself is going from side to side like someone's pushing on it. I'd run outside real quick to see what the hell's going on, and everything just goes back to being still. I'd wait a little while. I'd reschedule my call. Just quiet as can be. Okay, I'm gonna try to do my show again. And next thing you know, noise, shaking. And so at some point, I just started using my cell phone and using those weird camera filters programs, those apps, and I would just look around outside. And sometimes I swear I could get a humanoid outline behind a tree. So at this point in time, I'm doing more research, and I come up with something called gallium cloaking, or for the layman, invisibility. UC Berkeley had a lot of work on this subject. I actually downloaded a few PDFs of their research on invisibility and the elements that they would use to make it happen. One of them was gallium. I don't know. Don't ask me the science behind it. I'm not the engineer of it. However, I do know that they have stated that they have successfully made cloaking. Now, this is something our government, and I'm sure many others, has put billions of dollars into trying to create invisibility. So I'm actually at that point trying to tie in my other experiences from that experience. At this point, again, it's speculation. It's not matter of factly like I speak on the other stuff that I found out. I can give you all my research. I've made documentaries after documentaries about the other targeting the technology, but this
right.
I can still only speculate on.
When you lived in that apartment over there, was there anything going on before you arrived that anybody would ever say anything? Because obviously you must have talked to your roommates and people around there, did they say anything about anything, or it only started happening once you got there?
The only previous things that were going on, like I said, there were some neighbors who had schizophrenia that would talk to themselves outside or wherever for hours at a time.
Yeah, I know, but hell, I do
So
that.
no, there's talking to yourself, and then there's talking just and
Okay.
getting angry, full blown conversations.
Okay, because I'm telling you, because ever since my divorce, I used to freak out watching homeless people talking to themselves. But then when I started going through my divorce and it was like really working on me, I'd be in Walmart and I'm thinking so loud in my head that my mouth would start moving and I'm talking out loud and I'd catch myself and going, holy crap. And I'd look around to see if anybody's looking at me because I got myself so worked up to where I'm talking to myself out loud. I'm going, okay, I guess I see how homeless people do that. Does that make sense?
Well, I've already told you my research with the homeless, right? I mean, that's part of the psyop. They get you moving from spot to spot. Again, you have to spend money. They have to come out your resources, and the easiest way to do that is to get you to spend your money to get you to move from spot to spot. So you become isolated. You don't know anybody. You end up losing your job because you're gang stalked or mobbed at work, or some in regard, somebody's in the power structure line that will send the orders down to fire you. And then you end up being that person pushing the shopping cart that's homeless, talking to yourself because I interviewed a lot of the homeless in this town. Most of them said they hear the voices. Some of them say they get radio stations in their heads. Some of them say that they hear their families being killed over and over again in their heads. But they all have some sort of communication going on upstairs.
But what's the purpose?
And that just totally verifies the COINTELPRO. I'm sorry, go ahead.
What's the purpose? Why are they picking on, harmless people?
Social engineering, getting rid of undesirables. What they deem to be undesirables. You and I can't understand it because we're not psychopaths.
I understand, but there's a lot of people that are like down on their luck. A lot. And what are they going to do? Pick them off one by one?
If they have to.
What are they going to gain from that? I mean, we have we have such a homeless issue and problems and things like that. So they're just going to make them crazier, and they got nothing else to do. We don't have enough things in this world, and they're going to go for that. It's like trying to step on an ant, one at a time, something like that. When there's a million ants.
Well, they stepped on this ant, and they didn't realize I could carry 1,000 times more than my weight. No.
Yeah, well, that's what ants do. Ant.
Yeah. They couldn't crush me. But yeah, no, that again is the social engineering, undesirables. The same reason why the food is poison. Same reason why the water is poison. Same reason why the healthcare system sucks. It's to cull the population. They don't want to do it. It's where it's obvious. Everything has to be covert. I mean, even anything that you can think of. I mean, even to pushing, transgenders. Why are they pushing transgenderism so much? It's population control. They want you to mutilate your genitals, and not, or at least pass on your views to someone in the next generation, because transgender people want children. You're putting I'm not against that, but it's gonna affect the next generation. It's a soft kill program.
Sure.
In any direction you look.
Let me ask you a question because we're running out of time again, as always. How did this all end and when?
Well, the paranormal stuff,
Yeah.
pretty much because the thing is, I've always lived with someone. I've always, I can't, maybe junior high. I mean, I've had girlfriends throughout elementary school, all throughout high school. My biggest dry spell with women was junior high. But I've always been with someone. I've always lived with someone.
Junior high, you're like 12
This
years
is
old.
well. Hey, I had girlfriends before I was in elementary school. My mom did not care that I went on play dates. Okay.
Okay.
She wanted to make sure I was a sociable child. So, uh, I've always been sort of a PUA, but that's something for another time.
Okay.
But so this time period is the only time period I've ever lived alone. So that combined with the time I would spend alone in this trailer trying to do my media stuff, these were the only time periods I've ever lived alone. So for this stuff to happen and for other people to witness it, I don't think, especially as they figured out I'm not getting scared. So I guess there's no point to continue it. If it is the government, or maybe some supernatural or interdimensional influence, whatever it is,
These
they figured out I'm not going anywhere.
these people that you used to live with, have you ever seen or talked to them ever since?
Vanished, thin air.
Come on.
To me,
They were friends.
never seen.
They were friends of yours, right?
We became pretty close. I mean, in the time period that we lived together, yeah. I mean, we got along
but
great.
2014, everybody had cell phones by then. And they just they just disappeared, and you couldn't, like, what, nothing.
Nothing.
Huh.
So I don't know what became of him. I have no idea.
All right. Let me ask you a couple of questions.
Up in a insane asylum somewhere. That's what I really hope. Because, like I said, my roommate at that time, that apartment, he was laying on the couch talking to himself. Sometimes he would get up and run out the front door and lean over the balcony to catcall someone across the street. But that was the only social interaction he had for a month. That and me asking him, is he okay? So hopefully they're safe somewhere. Hopefully the paranormal stuff stopped happening to them. The targeting stopped happening to them when they left. But I can't tell you any updates on it.
Okay. I mean, I just trying to put just trying to wrap that one, figure out how the hell that all ended up and where these people went to. But I know that in our past we have talked, and I've asked you, do you think there are other life forms in this universe, in our space? And you looked at me basically just like we are now, and you said, what do you think? In other words, you agreed we can't not be the only ones, correct?
Well, it'd be impossible for us to be the only ones. I think.
Okay. So it's safe to say that you believe in possible UFOs then, correct?
Oh, I know. I mean, if we didn't have UFOs crashing on the planet, we wouldn't be talking to each other right now through this technology, through the computer, webcam, Wi-Fi, we wouldn't have it.
Okay, because
Roswell,
I got to ask you this, because this is I'm shifting a little bit of gears now from your story to this isn't paranormal, but this is unnormal, which there's so much talk about. I see it a lot of these people that come on the TikToks and this and that who claim there are bases on Mars, there are alien bases on the moon, and the moon is not the moon. I mean, what's your take on all this stuff? Because how come these people? How do you hide something and they're going, well, the population isn't ready yet? I think the population is ready. How do you keep such a secret?
well, okay, so to keep this more in the vein of my experiences here,
It's Halloween.
I have been very curious. I've done a lot of research on stuff that's on the moon, what's on Mars. I'm more interested on what's on the moon. I did, just out of just pure frustration and wanting to know what's going on, I did sort of let myself OBE a couple more times, out of body experience. I flung past the moon and landed on Mars. Now, I can't tell you anything about what's physically there, but in the so-called astral plane, whatever you want to call it, there are some terrifying creatures there, and I never want to do it again. I didn't think I was going to escape.
All right.
Now, people you can look at me weird all you want to. I'm being as honest with you as I can be. I'm probably never. It feels so weird, just out of body experience stuff. It's so weird. But I thought I was gonna get some answers. I did not get any answers. However, I do love looking at the stuff they're trying to hide on YouTube now. There used to be, you used to type in alien bases on the moon, type in YouTube, whatever. You get 100 videos, especially of these so-called NASA whistleblowers, stuff like that. Try looking up alien moon bases now. You might get one or two videos, excuse me, about what's going on. They're trying to cover it up so much. Yes, there's stuff on the freaking moon. I don't know if ancient human civilization or aliens. I do know that part of the reason why they geoengineered chemtrail in us, because remember, every op that the government does never serves only one purpose. It's multifaceted, always. So multifaceted, I mean, you can just, there's as many facets to what they're doing as there are to faces on a diamond. So one of these things are, as I've already told you that about the chemtrails, the nanoparticles that we breathe in, okay, the nano aluminum that laces our neural pathways, right? Turns our brains into transceivers. That's why they can do the synthetic telepathy. This doesn't just go for humans. They can track every being on the planet that breathes our air. From me to you to a single mice to crickets. Okay, they can track all of us. Now, something inhuman were to come onto the planet, breathe in our atmosphere, the NSA is going to know it. Okay, there's constant, we're in a bowl of frequencies right now in our atmosphere. We're constantly being brain mapped. Okay. Anything that comes to our atmosphere, breathes our air, has a brain, interfaces with our signals, they're in the NSA's system like that. Give them a phone number, print it to their brain patterns. Okay.
I guess that, wait, hang on, because I guess the reason I'm asking is because there's so much information going on now, and there's some predominant names that these of people who've been around since the '60s, the doctors and engineers, and that are coming out and telling these stories. But let's go backwards to the most simplistic thing. Do you believe we actually went to the moon?
Yes, we did. However, what we saw was not the real thing.
Okay,
So
that's
both sides are right. what we
That's
were
fair.
shown was not the real thing, but yes, we did go to the moon.
Okay, wait, but let's finish this, because this has been coming up more than anything, and it's driving me absolutely friggin' nuts, because I'm thinking to myself, after all these years, why is it coming up now? Flat Earth. This flat Earth thing is just driving me crazy, because I'm not saying it can't exist, but it's just so friggin' like, why now after all these years? This discrepancy.
That I do not have the answer to. There is a theory that the CIA just put it out there just to see how far this psyop can grow, how far it can go, how much it can perpetuate itself, and to see the gullibility of the masses. It's just the litmus test. What does it do? Test this.
only because it's like it kind of could make sense if you let it, but it doesn't. I mean, why now? It's like, dude, they would have figured that out centuries ago and said something, because it wouldn't have made a difference. It would have been whatever it is, it is. But the thing is, and this whole Antarctica thing with the ice wall, and there's a whole different thing going on beyond, and it's heavily guarded. It's just like there's a lot of like, what the hell is going on? And what's the big friggin'
It's
secret?
heavily guarded. Antarctica is heavily guarded because I do believe there are pyramids down there. There's crashed UFOs. So
Okay, but I mean,
I don't think
for
flat Earth, unless nobody has the means to actually check. I mean,
yeah,
I
they
don't
won't
know,
let.
call Richard Branson, tell him stop going to space and fly over Antarctica. I don't know. Tell Elon Musk, prove it.
This whole theory with it's a dome, and you can only go so high, and I just saw something today where this kid was he was a guy. He's like, if a plane is cruising and you're going around the world and you bring a level, like an actual level with you, the plane would have to continually pitch to go around. And he said that the level never changed, and that kind of stuff. Why are the planes taking a polar route? They go a polar route, and then if you flatten the Earth, and it shows like, well, yeah, because you don't go from California to God. I wish I could remember the destinations. He says, because if you flatten it all out, it just makes total sense that you're going from here to here because it's flat and you're going over the North Pole, and so all this. It just, I don't know. Why do they got to make it so confusing?
Flying from Europe over here to California, the path goes above, from Poland. From Frankfurt, the path goes up above the UK, over was it Iceland and Greenland?
Yeah,
the big one, and flew over Canada just to come through almost the Washington, Oregon area to come down to Sacramento. So
that's a polar route.
If you're on a ball, that makes sense. If it was flat, you just made a huge detour for no reason.
I just saw a couple of examples, and I wasn't thinking we were going to be talking about this.
You're talking about the level thing. You'd have to keep readjusting your level. So there's this thing called gravity. And Okay, I'm not a physicist. I'm just a researcher analyst, like anybody could be. But just take it for example. You take a yo-yo, you spin that yo-yo around, right? It doesn't have to keep releveling. It's being pulled from the center of the Earth. It's gonna stay on an arc no matter what. If you spin it around, right? So you don't have to keep releveling. I don't know. It's
I'm just throwing this stuff out since it's Halloween and we're on these stories, and you know,
flat Earth is the spookiest topic we could talk about.
it's very strange. It's very strange, and they keep saying that if you flatten it out, the outer Arctic wall is the edge of the whole complete. Again, it's just it. I'm just saying, why now? Because they've had centuries to bring this up, and all of a sudden now, these past 10 years, we're going to make these crazy notions,
Well,
and it just doesn't make sense.
so okay, again, I think it has to do with what the government has found in Antarctica.
Yeah.
You know, the pyramids, the crashed UFOs. There's actual life, like plant life down there, palm trees, stuff like that, which proves that Antarctica wasn't always on the bottom of the planet at the South Pole. So it proves that it's been in tropical places around the planet, as you know, the continents were probably one piece at one time, spread apart and moved again, and we've also had polar shifts. So this would explain, also that would prove that the Earth is round. But if you can, if I were to say, if I were to try to get you to be a devout Christian, you know, we are God's, make you believe that we are God's perfect creatures. There's nothing else in the universe. You've just been put into a tiny little box, haven't you? That box means control. So it's easy to start up a religion, because that's what it's turning into, this flat earth thing. You have literally sectioned off a large chunk of the population that you never have to worry about going to the South Pole and exploring. If you can get everybody to believe the Earth is flat, no one would have any reason. People would be terrified to get close to the edge of the Earth. You have to create that fear construct. It controls people.
I just think that it blows Christopher Columbus's whole theory. You know, the whole reason. It's like, and that was so long ago. And if okay, so if that was the case,
Magellan, Christopher Columbus. Let's go with Magellan.
Well, yeah. Okay, Magellan, Christopher Columbus. You know what I'm talking about. The whole, you know, yeah, Magellan. Okay, it's the same. You know, potato. The thing is, I don't know. It just blows my mind with all these things that are going on here, and again, I've been being fed or looking to where we have our most secretive of weapons of things that can create earthquakes and tsunamis and all that, and it's all stored up there in Antarctica, and that's, you know, it's like that's why they want to keep everybody away.
Oh, well, we have HARP facilities. I mean, there's HARP, and there are other facilities like it all around the globe. There's like at least 28 of them, stationed various countries, different places, all answer to the New World Order.
The New World Order.
The shadow government.
I'm just saying that all these things out there, you know, there's so much talk, and I try to pay attention, and I try to you know, to use common sense and not get overworked over all these things. That's all.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, you just think of any reason why you wouldn't want someone somewhere. I mean, if you're a government, you can do all biochemical weapon testing you want to do, there's no other life around. You can set up small experiments. Know that it'll never leak anywhere. Okay. I mean, you can set up secret space program stuff. I mean, you can do anything. Antarctica is the place to do anything. Free from the public's eye, free from any kind of judgment from the public.
So is Area 51. I mean, you think they got plenty of room over there too, but you know.
Well, people know about Area 51. It's
Yeah.
not a stretch to understand what's going on there.
Yeah. Okay, look, you know, again, Halloween. Let's get some Halloween music going. Ooh. You are getting sleepy. You are going into a trance. Look, man.
Twilight Zone.
You got to tell your stories of your paranormal experience. It is now well documented right here on Life of Peter G, the Peter G Show. But we are out of time. I mean, again, you have taken me over my hour limit because I wanted to hear these things. And but I want to leave you with a Halloween joke, if I may. You ready?
Yeah, hit me.
Listen, this is not a paranormal Halloween joke, okay? But this is just a Halloween joke. Let me get set up for this properly. Okay, let's do this. So, and I tell this, I did not tell this joke last Halloween, but I usually tell it every Halloween, and I wear the hell out of it. And I got this joke when I was about 17 years old, playing in a club from a comedian guy who used to come into our club and he'd do things. So there's this hair lip kid. You know what a hair lip is, right?
Yes.
Okay. He's a kid. He kind of talks like this because he got a hair lip. And no offense to hair lip people, okay? But that's just the way it is. So he decides he's going to go trick-or-treating. And he dresses up as a pirate. My daughter's going to kill me. She said, Dad, please don't tell the joke. She's sick of it. She's heard it for her whole life. So the kid dresses up as a pirate, and he goes and he knocks on the door, and this little old lady opens the door, and he goes, trick or treat. And so she says, oh, hi, little boy. She goes, what are you dressed up as? And he goes, I'm a pirate. And she goes, you're a what? He goes, I'm a pirate. She goes, I'm so. You're what? He goes, I'm a pirate. Need the patch on my eyes. Need my sword. I'm a pirate. She goes, oh, you're a pirate. How cute. He goes, yeah, I'm a pirate. And she says, okay, well, that's very nice. She goes, but if you're a pirate, where's your little buccaneers? And he looks at her and he goes, huh? You're my bucking head.
I knew you were going to say that. Oh, there you go.
Bucking bitch.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
I'm sorry. Just, I thought about it and I go because, I got to try to remember that, because the problem is, when all else fails.
Can a bitch get a donut?
The gift that keeps on giving.
I have to watch that sketch every once in a while.
Well, I never even knew about it until you brought it to my attention, and then I went and dug deep, and I, dug it all up and put it all together for you a couple of year and a half ago, and all that. But yeah, all right. Look, happy Halloween or post Halloween, and thanks for sharing your story with us. I'm sure, again, I don't know what to make of these things. I mean, I've seen lots of things happen, but it is what it is. But you're here, you're still here, and didn't hurt you. So what are you gonna do?
I'm the man without fear, except for the fear of heights, and yeah, that's about it.
All right, real quick before you leave, because I screwed up last week. You can be found on TLB Talk, which is a platform similar to like Rumble. Yeah.
Just go to my link, just go to tlbtalk.com, make yourself a profile, okay, and just message me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's similar to Facebook, Rumble, all these platforms, but it's a freedom of speech platform that will not cancel you like I get canceled on the tube. And you can just do what you want within the limits of the law, correct?
Exactly.
All
Yes.
right. Well, look, man, I deeply appreciate you taking the time coming on twice since you just arrived in the United States now. And I know there's a million things you got going on, but I appreciate you taking the time to share and catch up and talk about this stuff. And next year is a new year. This year is wrapping up faster than I can, believe what's going on. And what,
Well,
we'll
I
see what happens.
wanted to get a couple more usage out of the Burning V before I retire.
Oh, the Burning V. All right. Well, it's all good. It's all good. But the thing is, again, I hadn't spoken to you in a long time, like I said last week, and then God bless you, you've been wanting to tell these stories, and so now we got it done, and it's going to live on in infamy, and to share with all. So and for everybody else to figure out. But if you want to reach V, you can go find him on tlbtalk.com under V. Create a profile, download the app. It can be downloaded onto your phone. Or you can do it on your computer, and it's a great place to, and your iPad, all the mobile devices, and you can find him there because that's his home base, because he's got a big part of that whole deal, and that's where you can be found, and so it's all good. Thank you for giving us the time, and I don't know, we'll just catch you when we catch you. I guess the year will be over. Before you know it, we'll be talking 2024.
It's always an honor. You're definitely one of my favorite hosts and a good friend.
All right, brother. Virtual hugs. Again, now that you're in the States, I'm sure I'll see you eventually. But everybody get settled, do what you got to do. We're all kind of hustling, and again, but just so long as we keep going, that's all that matters.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me, Peter.
That's all right. Everybody wave to my 3 or 3 million, and I'll let you go, and we're gonna get out of here. Happy Halloween. Thank you, brother. I love you. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, that was V right there. V with his paranormal experience. I didn't know what he was going to tell me, had no idea. And I told him, I said, I want it to be a surprise for me too. So I hope you enjoyed it. We're just picking, I wanted to pick his brain on that and share, because this thing's happened. I truly believe there's a lot of stuff that goes on. It doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. And take into account, if you got any questions, contact V. Find him on TLB Talk. Real simple. He's there. He's a big part of that whole platform, creating it, sustaining it, and you can talk to people over there and express your opinions and not get censored. So that's a big deal. Freedom of speech. We the people. Remember, united we stand, divided we fall. But I want to thank everybody for watching Life of Peter G, The Peter G Show, post day after Halloween show. Quick reminder, real quick, November 8th, next Wednesday, November 8th, Baltimore's own Pastor Ray Pollitt's going to be on the show. I want to talk to him about what's going on in his city of Baltimore. It's a mess over there. And he helps the homeless, and he does a lot of good stuff. And he's a great guy, ex-Marine, a lot of background on him, and he's just the real deal. And I want to talk to him. And we've always had great conversations, and we're going to catch up with him next Wednesday, November 8th. Baltimore's own Pastor Ray Pollitt going to be on this show talking about what the hell is going on with Baltimore, because that's an iconic city, and it's just gone to hell. And he's a good man, and we're going to talk to him. All right. Thank you for watching. I hope you subscribe, share, like, follow all these platforms. We're on all the platforms that you can, naturally be on. And if you don't have time to watch, I love you for the ones who take time to watch, but Google Peter G Show podcast, put an earbud in your ear while you're driving in the car, the whole deal. While you're at work, you can listen to the show, because work is boring. It is. It is. these shows, over 300 shows. You can, on demand. This show is live right now, but when it's not live, you can pull it up anytime you want and listen to it or watch it. I love when you watch, but listening, at least the audio podcast, is the next best thing to being there. So please, please, please check it out. Do it. Subscribe. It's free. Doesn't get any better than this. And I mean that. So please, I love you guys. I want to leave you with the last thing, as I always do. Please, life's a bitch. It really is. It's not getting any easier. Be kind. Be kind. Think before you speak. You don't have to take a bunch of crap from people. You don't. Because life is short. But you don't have to be an ass either, okay? Please, please, please just be kind. Because we're all in it. We're all here. We all need it. Can't we, Joe? In the words of Rodney King Jr., can't we all just get along? That was the best thing he could have ever said, even though he didn't live long enough to live. But that was in his own hand. I love you guys, as always. My name is Peter G. You're watching Life of Peter G, the Peter G Show, every Wednesday, like clockwork, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, and 9 p.m. on the East Coast. God willing. See you next week. As always, I love you guys, and peace out.
Peter G Show, Peter G Show, Divorce Dad.